Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? So, I've been... Actually, before I get to this, because I want to talk about this for a bit, and then we're going to set up all of that. I've got the conveyor belts here, all of them, they're all ready to go, so we can get everything set up today. My weekly question is, which combine would you like me to buy? And yes, I did actually forget to put up the question on Monday, for which I apologise. I did correct it a couple hours later, but yeah. I do try to make sure that it is all ready before the video goes live, but sometimes I do forget. I am only human. So anyway, my three combines that you have to choose from are the Massey Ferguson Activa 7347, that has an 8600 litre tank. The Rostselmash Acros 595 Plus with a 9000 litre tank. And the Case Axial Flow 7130 with a 10,500 litre tank. Now, I was asked which headers go with these combines, so I will just quickly go through and we'll take a quick look at the headers that are supposed to go with these different combines. That Massey Ferguson 25 foot, I believe, is the one that goes with that. Yes, it is. It's the smallest one. So the Massey Ferguson 25 foot one there, at third, is it? Yeah, it is. That was definitely that one. Yep. Yes. Okay. So the Massey Ferguson free flow 25 foot header there. That is a 7.6 meter header. Then the Rostselmash Power Stream is actually for the smaller one. So the combine is slightly more expensive, but the header is slightly smaller. That's a 7 meter header. There is another Rostselmash one here. That is a 9 meter header. That is intended for the Torum 760, but you could put that one onto the smaller combine. It's entirely possible, and it has been done. I've seen it done. I've seen pictures of it being used in real life as well. So that would be fine. And then finally, you've got the case. So we've got these. We've got the case header there. Here it is. It's this one. It's a huge one up here. 35 foot header. That is a monster header. So there's a huge, great wide one there. Remember though, I will be leasing the headers. I know it's unusual, but it's not completely out of the realms of possibility. So it is these three combines, the Massey Ferguson, the Rostselmash, or the case. It's your vote. It's your game. Don't forget to click on the little thing up here in the corner and actually cast your vote, and head into the comment section. Let us know why you're voting for the one that you're voting for. Now then, the Steyr. The wonderful Steyr. Actually, I've got no problem with the tractor. The tractor is actually quite a nice little tractor. I'm quite fond of very small tractors. They're quite nice. It's a little compact thing. The wheels look a bit odd, but we know that, but they're row crop tyres, so we live with that. Controls or everything is the front loader. Yes, this wonderful, wonderful front loader where you can't see what the pallet forks are doing. But a gentleman by the name of Adam Stockdale on the comment section pointed out that there is a tube on the front with a bar inside, and when the bar is flush with the top, the pallet forks are level. This is a real life thing, and I gotta be honest, I've never used a front loader that's had one because I've never really used a new front loader. I've only ever used older ones, so I've never actually seen this bar thing in action. But as soon as he said it, I did remember I've heard about it before. And then Jacob Ashcraft and Draco60 also mentioned the bar on the front. It's just said Adam Stockdale because he was the first one to mention it. Now, if we have a look closely, there is that bar right beside there. And if I tilt it right up, you see the little bit that comes out the top? Okay, that's great and all. So in theory, it should be, when that is set just to the top, we'll lower it right down like that, and we'll set it so that it goes to the top, and we can look in cab and we can do it there. See, if I tilt it, bring it back up there, you can see the bar there. Right, so in theory, that should be the pallet forks level. Let's take a look. They're not level. So it is on here, but it's not entirely accurate. It doesn't seem to be set quite right for this one. So it is there. There is a way to sort of tell that it's level. So I have learned something there. And I did know about these, kind of. I've heard about them, but I've never actually used one myself. And yeah, then it didn't work out very well anyway for us, but that's besides the point. Now then, we need to move all of this stuff in. I'm going to put these two, I'm going to put them all in, and then we'll stick the fertilizer in there as well. So this one here, you jump into it, you need to turn it on. Now, in order to move this one, you can move it backwards and forwards just fine like it is, but you can't steer it when it's in this position. I'm going to get rid of the map a minute. Now then, in order to steer it, you've got to fold it. So you press X to fold it up, and that will actually allow the little wheel underneath to make contact with the ground. When you've got it into position, make sure you leave the you leave the bar in the up position, but make sure you actually turn it off. You press enter to start and stop the engine. You've got to make sure that you press enter and you turn the engine off when you've got it in the position that you want it in, because if you don't, what actually happens is it will drift. It will just sort of roll forwards and backwards, and it is an absolute nuisance. It really is. It's a complete and utter jolly nuisance, because it moves around and moves everything out of line, and you just don't need it. All right, it's just a hassle coupled with a headache that you just don't need. Right, so we're going to put that one there, and I'll press enter to turn it off. Now it's not going to move around, and we'll run over to this one here. We press enter. Now this one you don't fold up. If you fold this one, what it does is it actually moves those wheels, and then if you engage the hired help, it will move it from side to side, and you can actually adjust in here. If I press a hired help to dismiss it, if you use the Y button, it changes the angle. That actually, and then you engage the hired help again. If I was to leave it like that, it would just rotate like that constantly. So if we're unloading sugar beet or something like that, we could put them into a huge, great big heap and spread them out quite nicely, and you wouldn't have to keep moving it yourself. And it is something that I will be using more of in the future. I haven't really used this feature in any of my time-lapse episodes yet. At least I don't think I have. I'm pretty sure I haven't used it at all in my time-lapse episodes. It's something I would like to use. I just haven't found the right place. It's something I'm going to use, and purely because I think it is a really good feature. It does work really well. Right, let's just zoom in here a bit, and we come forward just a fraction. There we go. Actually, I want to go forward a little bit more, just so it is lining up. I know that it does actually work, but I like it to be lined up properly so that it doesn't have like the false clipping sort of stuff. So there is that one. You don't need to join those two together, and I have turned the engine off on this one. So now if we come out, now what we do, anything we want to fill, we drive underneath there. Let me just go in and make sure that that is as high as it will go. That's perfect. You can, if you want to, you can extend the bar out a little bit if you don't think it's out far enough. I think it's okay where it is. And then you just back the trailer in, you tip it into this corner when you want to refill it. So let's go over to, actually we want to go up to this one, and I want to bring this one forward a bit. I've just realised I got the timescale on the wrong one. I actually changed it down because I was doing something else and didn't change it back. There we go. This truck needs cleaning. It is absolutely filthy, so we will clean that one. We're also going to clean the Challenger. That one's quite dirty as well. So I'll bring that one there and stop him there. And this one can unhitch right where he is. Tractor, the wheels are a bit dirty, but generally that tractor's quite clean, so we will keep this one. He can just park up over here somewhere. Let's put him in the parking space. And round. There we go. Right. We're going to bring in those two, and we're going to do them the same. I'm going to set this one up now in a similar way that I did. So I'll press X to fold it up, and press Enter to start it. And now we'll move it in here. And what I do is I put them facing the same. I don't like do the same. I do a mirror image. And the reason I do that is because if I take it over here, I don't think that this one can pull seed through the wall. At least I'm hoping it can't. If it does, I'm going to end up looking rather foolish. Nope, it doesn't pull seed through the wall. It would have done it by now if it was going to. So let's just move forward a little bit further, there, and stop. Then I go and get the other conveyor belt, and I run that one up behind it, and set that one into position as well. So I press Enter to start, and sure it's up. Oop, didn't actually want to do that. I'll put this one in as well. This can go right down the side here. And then we'll back the fertilizer in and we'll tip that right beside there. The reason I want to do it this way round is because I actually want to see what it's going to be like tipping right in front of these conveyor belts, because I've not done it yet. There's something that I haven't done at all. So what I do have to make sure I do is get this properly lined up. So that, wrong way. Am I turning in the right direction? No. I want to go that way. Move over a little tiny bit. Too far. There. Right. I think that's about right. Press enter again to turn it off. Everything should be in the right place. So now we'll come over to the big tractor over here and we'll load this one up. And then I don't think actually we don't actually need to do any fertilizer spreading at the moment. I don't think. Soil composition. Well, field 14 is pretty much done for fertilizer. We've got a little strip around the edge. It will need some. 15 and 12 need fertilizer. Actually, no. Field 12, we could spread fertilizer on that one now. So we could actually load up the fertilizer spreader and we could do the fertilizing so that we can sort of see the whole thing in action. Now, we've got a lot less in this one. We had 20 pallets worth of seed, but we've only got 10 worth of these. And a few other people have said that, well, in real life, the fertilizer is obviously a lot heavier than seed. But they've also noticed that it does seem to be heavier in the game. And my own personal theory is because everything in the game has a set weight. And they don't give everything in the game different weights. It's literally 1 litre of anything weighs the same. A litre weighs X amount for the game, because otherwise there'd be too much data in there. And so, hang on, I want unload anywhere, there. Right, that's immediately picked up, going up to the conveyor belt. That's perfect. And the trailer is empty. So we will probably need to get some more of that fairly soon. For now, that can do just fine. Let's bring this one over here. I'm going to leave the trailer... Yeah, I'll leave the trailer here for now. But we do want to clean off the case. The Challenger, rather. Yeah, we're going to... oh, yeah, my theory about the fertilizer, I think that the blue... You know the frames that they come in? And by the way, no one seems to have seen these frames being used before. I've not found anyone yet in the comment section that is familiar with the frames that they've got here. So I think that what they've done is that the blue frames that the fertilizer come on have actually had some weight added to them in the game files. And because they've had some weight added to them in the game files, it actually makes the pallets of fertilizer heavier than the pallets of seed. When you're handling the loose fertilizer and seed, they'll weigh the same. But the blue frame, I think, weighs more than the green frame, which is why the tractor was tipping when I was trying to handle the fertilizer and it wasn't with the other one. So that's my theory on the subject. I don't know if anybody's got a better theory, or if anybody's got some proof of something, but maybe it was just coincidence and I was driving badly. Right, the pressure hose restricts you from going any further, but I can just about reach round. I've nearly cleaned this one now. And yeah, just get to the back. Right. Excuse me, very sorry. Put that one there. I was talking about weights. You know, you get the weight. It's just a big lump that you hitch onto the front. This one has actually got the weights that I was talking about. You individually held ones. It's got a big long bolt all the way through, which holds all the weights in place on the front. But you could take all of these off if you wanted to. You take them off one at a time. So very occasionally you'd have a job where you'd use fewer of them, and you just lift them off. You'd undo those bolts, take them out, and then you could lift these weights off one at a time. It doesn't actually have it written on there, but these small ones, given the size of them, they're probably still 50 kilos each. Weights are generally very, very heavy, so they're probably still 50 kilos. I mean, how many we got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 10, 20. We could have 1.5 tons in weight on the front. No. Yeah, 1.5 tons. Could be about... That would be about right. If they were 50 kilo weights, that would seem about right for this kind of size tractor. Anyway, I'm going to stop him right there, because we're going to now test out our fertilizer and see if this actually works. This is the moment. The moment we've all been waiting for. Well, maybe not all, but, you know, I have. How about the rest of you? Now we come over here. I don't want to put seed in here. It would be really cool if you could put seed in here. I know that most of the crops you drill through a seed drill. However, grass. I know that some people grow grass commercially, and some people... Why is it not... Oh, I need to change to the fertilizer spreader. Now I can open the cover. So we open the cover, and we're back up. But yes, grass and grass seed... a farm that I used to work on, if they were planting grass, they wouldn't use... There we go, it's filling. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Look at that. It actually works. That is magnificent. I am so pleased with what we've done there. That is excellent. Right. We have now got it all in place. We are going to need to get a bit more fertilizer here because we've used most of what we've got already. But minor detail. Right. Just thinking, I'll take the pallet fork off. I'm going to put it here at the end. I don't think it's going to be out of the way here. And so yes, grass seed, grass. When you are using grass and spreading grass seed, I know quite a few people that will do it with a fertilizer spreader, especially farmers that don't actually have a seed drill. I know that other crops are spread with fertilizer spreaders. Sometimes they put a mixture of fertilizer and seed in. Other times they just put the seed in itself. Now, have I got a front weight for this tractor? I don't think I do. I think I might need one soon because it's a bit light on the front. I don't know if I got one or not. I won't worry about it too much for now. So let's come up here, and I am going to use a hired help. I always like to use a hired help to do my fertilizer spreading because they're able to do it fairly accurately. So we'll let this one carry on now. It does look light on the front. But yes, you could spread grass seed with a fertilizer spreader. I've seen it done. I've never actually done it myself, but I've worked on a farm where it has been done. Basically, the farmer who was doing it, I was quite a bit younger then, and he didn't trust me to do the job. Just didn't trust me at all, so I wasn't able to actually have a turn at that. I would love to have done, but I wasn't allowed to. It was quite a bit upsetting for me. I was a bit disappointed with that. It was something I would like to have done. I might get the chance one day in the future. Someone was asking what am I a real farmer? Not at the moment. I'm not a farmer at the moment. I'm only a pretend farmer at the moment. I have been a farmer in the past, as many of you now know. I've never actually owned a farm of my own. My father used to own a farm many years ago, and then he sold up for various reasons. I have worked on various different farms in my life. I've worked on quite a variety of different farms. I've worked for various agricultural businesses as well, not just strictly farmers. These days I'm now a builder. That's what I do at the moment. I mostly do building of blocks, building block walls, concrete block walls. I realise here in the UK, and I think most of Europe, our concrete blocks I think are quite a bit different to anybody that's watching in the States. I think your concrete blocks are generally a bit different. I think you use like a hollow one. It kind of, if you put it on its end, it looks a bit like the number 8 your concrete blocks do. They're hollow in the middle, and then you build them up with those, and then you fill the middle. Well, our concrete blocks are just solid. It's just a solid lump of concrete. Put down a bit of cement, you put the blocks on top with cement in between, run it all to a line, and using a level and so on, you build them up like that. But the videos I've seen on different, because I do occasionally watch videos on building and different construction techniques, and I've yet to see solid concrete blocks being used anywhere in the States, so I'm beginning to think that it's not really a thing that you have over there. It tends to mostly be the hollow form ones. But anyway, that's what I do at the moment. But I do hope that one day I might be able to afford a small farm. Now, the price of land here in the UK is astronomical. We have, unfortunately, one of the highest average house prices in the world, which does make it very difficult to go and purchase any land. I realise I could probably already own 20 or 30 acres of land in the States if I was willing to move to a different area without too much trouble. Much the same in Australia. I don't know about New Zealand. Canada, probably the same. Land is fairly cheap. Over here, however, 20 or 30 acres of land would cost more than my house does. And my house cost an absolute fortune. The average house price here in the UK now, I think, is around £160,000, which is 160,000, I believe, is roughly $250,000 US dollars, and I think Australian dollars at the moment are somewhere on a par with American dollars. It might be, I think your currency is actually a little less than the US dollar, so you might be looking at 300,000 Australian dollars. Something along those lines anyway, but yeah, it's hideously expensive, absolutely horrifically expensive. I really wish he wouldn't drive out on the road like that. He doesn't need to. We'll do this last bit, we'll come up through here. So yeah, the average house price in this country is approximately $250,000 US dollars. So as you can understand, it's a bit difficult to get onto the property ladder, but I am hoping that one day, maybe, I could afford to buy a house and some land. And yeah, the land is usually more expensive than the house itself. So you see the challenge I'm up against. But who knows, maybe when I retire I could own 20 or 30 acres with a tiny little tractor, and I could potter about on it and pretend to be farming. It might be nice. Right then, we are finishing this field. I'm going to go and park up this tractor. Actually, I need to clean this tractor as well. But yeah, I will go and park up, and then we will get on with our next task. Okay, I'm going to clean off this tractor a minute, and we'll clean the fertilizer spreader. You wouldn't ordinarily clean a fertilizer spreader while there is still fertilizer in it, but unfortunately this game doesn't actually have a mechanic that allows us to empty out seed drills or fertilizer spreaders. It just has to stay in there. So for the tractor, it's just business as usual. We go and we clean everything off. You make sure that you clean the windows. You certainly wouldn't use any abrasive scourers or anything like that on the window. Generally, when I was cleaning a tractor, if I wanted a tractor to look nice and shiny, the pressure washer does do a good job, but you don't just stop with the pressure washer. For the paint work on the tractor and for doing the windows, once you've pressure washed it, you then use a soft cloth and you go over it, and that just wipes off all the streaks. For those of you who've never done it before. Now, for a fertilizer spreader, you get a little bit up on the back up here. Yes, that's true. A lot of the mud that you get is actually up here on this bit on here, where it's just flicked up by the wheels. If you have a look there, the wheel is actually clipping. You can just see it there if I lift up. But yeah, so you'd get a little bit, you'd get quite a bit of mud actually build up there, and you'd also get quite a bit of mud on this side here, because that's always flicked up from the wheels, and that's always the dirtiest spot on any fertilizer spreader. Now, the other bit that you've got to do, and this is very, very important. Can I crouch? Yes. I need to crouch down for this. Is in here, around the actual spinning mechanism. Now, the fertilizer, what it does is it drops down. A little bar will actually move sideways up here. You can sort of see a little bit here. It opens a chute, and the fertilizer will drop down onto there. This one's actually got a little belt that moves the fertilizer, and it drops it down there, and then it drops into the actual spinners. This bit you must clean most carefully. You have to get every single little bit of fertilizer out. Fertilizer is one of the most corrosive things that you will ever find. Right? It will rust a machine away in no time at all. If you leave fertilizer in a machine that can go rusty, it will do so in a matter of weeks. If you were to just leave a metal fertilizer spinner or an iron fertilizer spinner or steel full and then sit it back in a shed for a year, you'd come back and you'd probably find that you've got a pile of fertilizer and some bits of rust. Right? It's that corrosive. It is really nasty stuff. It can hurt your skin. It can hurt your eyes. You can run your hands through it, but after a while your hands will start to burn. It's not something that you should dismiss and treat lightly. You should always treat fertilizer with respect, which is why they've got to carry those on it. And you will occasionally hear of people getting caught making bombs. I don't really want to discuss stuff like that, but I have heard a news story where terrorists were caught with over a ton of bomb-making equipment. They didn't have a ton of bomb-making equipment. They had a bag of fertilizer, because it is that dangerous. You can turn it into a bomb quite easily. It's corrosive, it's nasty, so always treat it with respect. It's really the point I'm trying to make. It must be treated with the utmost of respect. And you must also remember that it will completely destroy your machine, which is why, if you see the grey metal that this one's made out of, it's actually made out of aluminium. And a lot of fertilizer spreaders these days are made or lined with aluminium because that won't corrode anywhere near as fast as regular metal will. So that's why they use aluminium in a lot of new fertilizer spreaders. Anyway, I am running very close to the end of the episode, so what I'm going to do, I was actually planning to go and start this before the episode, or before the episode finished. We're not going to have time, and I am actually just going to knock the time down to 1 times because I don't want it to disappear. I do have a chance here. Something I'm going to go and do before the start of the next... Have we gone through a growth stage on our land? You know, I think we do. I could actually go and do the fertilizer spreading. Yes, we do. Look at that. I will spread fertilizer on those 2 fields before next episode. But what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go and harvest field 5. It's a combining job. And it's ready to go. There it is. What have we got up there? Is that canola or is that wheat? I'm not actually sure. Oh, it's sunflowers. That'll be a nice quick job. So yeah, I'm going to do this purely so that we can get a bit of extra money. I know we're going to be buying our combine soon. So that leads me very neatly and tidy. You see what I did there? See how I made that smooth transition there? I thought that was quite good. I was quite pleased with that. Which combine would you like me to buy? We are going to be buying one of these combines. We'll buy the Massey Ferguson, the Rostselmash, or the Case. It is your vote, it's your game. Mouse over the corner up here and click on the white eye and you'll be able to cast your vote and head into the comment section and tell us why you're voting for the one that you're voting for. That's really all I've got time for today. I haven't given you a topic of discussion in the comment section. I know that a lot of you actually like my topic of discussion, so today it's just open house. Actually, no. Well, I was talking about the price of land, wasn't I, and price of houses. So how do the average price house prices in the UK compare to where you're from? And is it easy to buy land where you're from, or is it considerably more difficult? Excuse me. Sorry, I had a bit of a coughing fit there. So yes, that can be the topic of discussion. It's about the price of land and stuff like that. I'm not actually going to start this one until I go because I need to do a few other things first. But I will. I'm going to harvest this entire field. Let's see how much we're going to get. How much is the offering? 67,000 if I do it with that one. And 50,000 with that one because it's quite a bit wider. 67 and 34,000 if I use the Helianthus, the sunflower header. Oh yeah, no, did we do this field? No, we didn't. We did field 20, didn't we? So we haven't actually done any work for this guy at all. We will do some work on and off. I'll do the odd job, but I very much doubt that we're going to buy his field in our Let's Play series. That's just going to be in the time lapse. But if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give me a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.